Within the entire galaxy there exists one whose reputation precedes them more than any other. They're very honorific, synonymous with complete annihilation. We speak now of the true gods of the battlefield. We speak of the Titans. In the far future of the 41st millennium, there is only war. Millions of humanity's finest sacrifice their lives, if not their very souls, with the passage of each new day, just to stave off the corrupt hordes in thrall to dark gods or the gibbering masses of alien filth, with the hope that those they are sworn to protect will be allowed to see the light of a new dawn. Truly epic are the battlefields of this era, not only in their rolling, endless proportion, but more than ever in the heroic deeds or callous destruction wrought upon them. In the era Indomitus, the theatre of war takes many forms, from cityscapes which have fallen to ruin, the crumbling remains of buildings laying bare like the split ribcage of some prey animal, to ash-shrouded worlds which exist not wholly within the material plane, upon which lost friends and loved ones can be heard as a whisper at the back of one's own mind. Armies of every race and creed clash over these scraps, intent to claim a new planet in conquest or feast upon its vitality. Though of all the forces deployed from one end of the galaxy to the other, none even begin to compare to the awe-inspiring power, destructive potential, and sheer scale of the beings we discuss now. It can certainly be said that the mighty titans of the Adeptus Mechanicus are not only distinguished, but even coveted above any other armed force in the overall war machine that is the Imperium's armies, for the raw killing power they possess, as well as their awe-inspiring presence, borders on godlike, and is enough to fuel a loyalist force's motivation on campaign, or even striking such dread into the enemy, their will to fight is all but extinguished, knowing full well they cannot hope to stand against such ancient, divine avatars of the Omnissiah's wrath. Within this works we will discuss the various types of god machines the Imperium can bring to bear, their beginnings within the ancient forges of Mars, as well as the traditions of the mortals honoured to pilot them. If you do enjoy this video, please show your support by giving it a like, and if you really enjoy it and would like to be alerted to more of our works, please consider subscribing to Titan Wargaming if you've not done so. I would enjoy learning your thoughts on these mighty god engines, so feel free to leave a comment. It makes my day reading the comments you all take the time to write. If this video accrues enough attention from you all, then in our next video, we'll take a closer look at the Titans and bioconstructs fielded by the various Xenos and Chaos factions. His war horn announces his presence, a booming roar of an alpha predator which challenges any who would dare oppose his will. It deafens those unfortunates within proximity who scramble around his tread like ants. They are of the same allegiance, but their existence is of no concern to him. He is a god of war. The charge of primary weapons are announced by the onboard Mechanicus engine seer, whilst the white-hot fury of the Princeps is honed in on the target of his wrath. Incoming fire ripples and bursts off of his shielding in halos of distorted light, as the mighty god engine lumbers forward as per the will of its pilot. Secondary weapons discharge into the foe engine who would dare oppose his rulership of this battlefield. All the while his primary armament slowly charges. The anger the Princeps feels translates into a constant pressure within his skull, increasing with the total charge of his weapon. As the Princeps begins to lose himself in his anger, the aggression becoming too powerful to not act upon, the machine priest announces full charge, and the Princeps yells in anticipation as much as relief. Fire. The enemy engine barring their way is not only destroyed, its skin is turned to glass where it is not dissolved, and the corrupt spirit within can almost be heard as it is sent screaming back into the hell from whence it was birthed. Engine kill. During the violent dystopian era known on Terra as Old Night, or more commonly now as the Age of Strife, those who had come to inhabit Mars were not spared the terrors of that age. The world they had so carefully and skillfully terraformed would be racked by invasion and internal conflict. In the ashes of apocalyptic wars wherein some of the most catastrophic of technologies were deployed in a vie for dominance, the Martian people's atmosphere was all but burnt to nothing, and its surface was returned again to the red, sandy, dead husk it had been in ages past, though it was now laden with extremely toxic levels of radiation. Forever a culture of logic who laboured ceaselessly to accrue more advanced knowledge and improved functionality, the vast banks of data available to the various civilizations who had persevered throughout the initial onset of the Age of Strife were crucial to the survival of these people. Every byte of stored knowledge able to be used to eke out survival in this arid, deathly planet was put to use. Entire subterranean cultures had come to venerate those of their number who managed to maintain the skill to utilize such data from the ancient machines in their holdings, these beings eventually coming to be known as a priesthood in themselves. So were they praised by their people. As the millennia ground on and ancient wars still ravaged the surface and subsurface complexes of Mars, advances in weapons technology allowed the newly formed cult Mechanicus to overcome the direst of foes in the form of savage Xenos raiders, the Psi Carnivora, and even each other. The greatest, most venerated weapons of this ancient era were the Titans. Violence and the promise of death emanate from the mechanical, deathly visage of an Imperial Titan. In contrast to such beings of indomitable power and sheer size, all other forces are ant-like in comparison, and almost seem comedic in scale. At first glance of a mighty Titan of the Holy Omnissiah, both magnificent and dreadful in equal measure, it is very easy for one to not comprehend the biomechanical consciousness shared between the Princeps pilot and the advanced artificial intelligence which is the Titan itself. These advanced AI systems confer a learning, self-aware, unique personality to each and every Titan. The bond between Princeps and Titan is supplemented or even elevated in power by the conscious efforts of the Moderati crew, enough to level cities and sap the will of even the most stalwart defender. Shared between Pilot and Titan is the combined existence known as the Manifold, a landscape of angry digital red data ghosting within their sight. The Princeps lives through his bonded god engine upon the field of battle, lashing out with limbs that spew forth pure burning heat like that of a sun, his tread heralding the end of all who would dare oppose him. Forged in sacred furnaces of ancient design, the Adeptus Mechanicus crafting of a god machine is an act of holiness and reverence without equal. These relic machines are the avatars of the Omnissiah's wrath, and their crew, the driving force of will to enact the machine god's vengeance. Unlike the Martian priesthood who feel the need to replace their natural flesh with the cold logic of cogitator and cog, the Princeps and Moderati of a Titan Legion will only augment themselves so far as to ensure they can sustain the precious neural link with their bonded Titan. Even while at rest within neural cradles, the crew of a Titan still share this link with each other, as well as with a form of subconscious of the god machine in their charge. They dream restlessly of past battles, both of their own as well as extracts of consciousness from crew long dead. Glimpses into the past of previous crewmen whose consciousness has long since been imprinted and absorbed by the Titan they now pilot. In flashes of heat and aggression, Princeps relive epic moments of savage triumph as well as agonizing defeats, their flesh burning in sympathy, as was the fate of their predecessors. Though Titan familius groups, clans, legions, or orders, as they are all known, technically fall under the command of the Mechanicus Forge world they were born from, attempting to leash beings of such fierce willpower, a will capable of combining their own consciousness with that of an ancient god of war, is foolhardy in the least, suicidal in the extreme. The Titan orders are indeed ancient, the oldest three being the original orders founded on Mars itself during the Age of Strife. These clans, whose age, reputation, and deeds afford them status rivaled by no other, are collectively known as the Triad Ferrum Morgulus, having battled together, as well as against each other, during the unification of Mars. These ancient legios' experiences during the wars of the Horus Heresy would forever leave them marked, for better or for worse. Of the three fated Triad Ferrum Morgulus, some would retain their allegiance to humanity, whilst others certainly would not. Legio Mortis were corrupted during the Horus Heresy, notorious engines such as Dies Irae bowing to the command of Horus and leading the culling of loyalist Astartes on Isfahan III, as well as the charge against the walls of the Imperial Palace during the Siege of Terra. Legio Tempestus allegiance was split between loyalist and traitor during the heresy, who, since the defeat of Horus, would reform their order and establish a new home on the Forge World of Orestes, determined to make amends for the sins of their erstwhile traitorous kin. Then there is first of the Triad, Legio Ignatum, whose absolute loyalty and fury in battle would see them trusted with spearheading the defence of Terra beyond the palace walls during the siege in ancient days. To for a moment explore the attitude, attire, and decoration of Titan crews, the various Titan orders are bound by ancient codes of honour and tradition which persist still, long millennia following their initial founding on their respective Forge World. The very same attitudes and preferences in combat doctrine of their founding forebears are still predominantly adhered to in the legios of today, with some preferring particular modes of combat, such as close to mid-range firefights and melee strength, whilst other orders much prefer the pounding, heavy bombardment of long-range, mountain-levelling ballistics. The cultural differences between orders are very apparent through the personal decoration and habits of those familius members. Crews of the Legio Ignatum, for instance, are said to decorate their hair and faces with ostentatious inks, which display a stark comparison to the graphite black uniform of their legion. Their hair is styled loudly in great crests of threatening colours, such as neon green or red and black stripes, with delicate or exotic embellishments strewn throughout their hair, such as black pearls. Tattoos are overlaid upon their face and body. Electude flames shift upon their cheeks, which mirror the destruction their souls seek to pour out onto the enemies of their legion. And sacred cogs turn on their skin, which mirror the bearer's mood. When perplexed, these cogs can stop altogether, and when angry, their sacred revolution can reverse direction completely. A great many of Ignatum are said to decorate their skin completely in chrome paint, as to mirror the machines they have long since melded their psyches with, and metal cogs etched with dates are pierced upon their chin to denote machine kills. Even the iris of the eyes undergo this same embellished transformation, with self-inflicted bleaching turning them a topaz yellow, making it a truly harrowing experience to lock eyes with the Titan crews of the Legio Ignatum. They do all of this, they claim, to reflect the soul of war as they fight it, etching the echo of their engine's furious spirits upon their own personage. Being so closely linked through the incandescence, the crews of a particular Titan legion can also experience what is termed interfaced synchronization. As the Princeps and Moderati share the same past glories and defeats, these experiences, as well as the associated emotions, are all experienced in the same way by the various different crew members across all maniples of a Titan Legio. The effect this can have when crews are interacting outside of their god machines is a synchronized reaction to particular stimuli, such as when gathered as a group in a great meeting or forum. Lo betide the outsider who manages to rouse the anger of several Titan crews in the same place, as all in attendance will react with a perfectly simultaneous anger which mirrors the destructive mood of their god machines. Though overall a Titan order will of course follow the will and directive of the representative of the Omnissiah in the form of the Adeptus Mechanicus, it is the one who holds rank of either Princeps Maximus or Grand Master who governs a Legio's inner functions. Guarded at all times by Legio hoplites, the heads of a Titan Legion are known to reach over 10 centuries in age, an undeniable accrued knowledge locked within the master of an order. Though these individuals have also learnt over their many years of service to temper their aggression with a political mindset, so as to steer their Legio true, avoiding the political war zones which can at times be just as brutal as the battlefields of the 41st millennium. As stubborn as they are battle-hardened, the advanced age of these individuals can see their mobility limited when not incarnated within their Titan. Thus, some may require the assistance of amnion tanks or exoframes. Holding rank in between the Princeps Maximus and the rank and file Princeps crew are the Council of Princeps Seniors. These beings often possess centuries of experience bonded with their brothers and sisters of their Titan order, and can be found crewing the larger, more formidable engines a Titan Legio can bring to bear, such as the Emperor class. Overall, there are 3 main varieties of Titan, with each containing a various amount of subclasses. The largest, most formidable Titans available to the Holy Imperium of Man are the Warmonger and Imperator Titans of the Emperor class. These engines truly are gods of war incarnate, originating as far back as the Age of Strife some 15 millennia ago. The technology to construct these engines are lost to the fires of revolution and the inevitability of time, as every Titan crafted is an individual labour of the utmost holy reverence. Every single one maintains not only its own intelligence, but also its own unique appearance and height. In saying this, the largest Imperial Titans, the Emperor class, are all around 500 feet in standing height, and are easily recognisable by the cathedrals each one bears upon its back, an announcement of allegiance as much as it is an artisan's flair. Imperator and Warmonger Titans do not deign to wade into the thick of melee. Instead, their every footfall is a death sentence for lesser engines, and their armaments toll the doom of any who would dare oppose their will. Sporting projectile weapons, cannon arms the likes of which are perhaps more fitting on a spacecraft than a landlocked machine, both the Warmonger and Imperator Titans wield Plasma Annihilator and Hellstorm cannons as standard, able to strip void shields within a single volley or lay waste to an entire opposing army. The Hellstorm cannon has earned its name over the battlefields of the dark future for over 10 millennia. Plasma Annihilators are capable of not only achieving an efficient kill when facing off against enemy engines, but upon impact, the plasma shot unleashed by this weapon can span over 150 meters in diameter, utterly erasing clustered enemies or backfield artillery emplacements with one single, well-aligned shot. To offset these 2 main armaments, which at times can be slow to fire in comparison to the ever-changing scope of maneuvers and counters of the battlefield, and considering the power they must draw upon, both Emperor-class Titans are capable of being fitted with up to 6 secondary armaments. These are fitted to a Titan depending upon that sacred god machine's role in battle. Gatling blasters, for instance, lay down a curtain of solid rounds which make short work of light vehicles and infantry, whilst quake cannons fire shells which house the very blast waves from a planet's death throes when it has undergone a sanctioned exterminatus, signing the death warrant of enemy fortifications. Often named after the planet whose suffering the shell was drawn from, when fired from a Titan's quake cannon, this grotesque extrapolation of an entire planet's suffering tears apart massive fissures underneath the target, often enveloping a fortification entirely, crushing those unfortunates cowering within. Such is the fate of all who would oppose the Adeptus Titanicus. Truly, Emperor-class Titans are the penultimate kings of the bleak, apocalyptic battlefields of the far future. Smaller than both the Warmonger and Imperator, though infinitely more numerous throughout the war zones of the Milky Way galaxy, are the God Engines of the Warlord class. Marginally less deadly in their all-out capacity to obliterate those who would bar their advance when compared to their larger brothers of the Emperor class, the Warlord Titans of the Imperium still prove more than a match for the vast majority of enemies who dare oppose the Omnissiah's will. These machines are the workhorses of the Titan legions, their main guns drawing from ammunition boxes as large as tanks. These front-line behemoths are veterans of innumerable conflicts over long-spanning millennia of service to the mighty cog, and as such their names are much honoured and their list of deeds long, often complemented within a maniple including the smaller Warhound Scout class Titan. These ensure the flanks of their slower, more ponderous brethren are not exposed. The combined arms approach of maniples utilising these two classes are effective over most war zones the horrors of the 41st millennium can muster forth. Though smaller in stature and significantly weaker in stopping power than their larger brethren, the Warhound Scout Titans are not only dreaded conductors of terror raids upon the foe, ranging ahead of the inevitable main advance to shred the nerves of the opposition yet more, but they are also famed engine killers. When operating within this role, the crews of a Warhound play a dangerous game. It is true that the God Engines of the Mechanicus have naught to fear other than those of their opposing number, though in the Warhound it is either a foolhardy or inexperienced Princeps who ignores the threat a pack of such Scout Titans pose. Their ability to outmaneuver many an armoured foe cannot be overlooked. A savvy Princeps of a Scout Titan is able to avoid the main battery of these larger Warlord class by way of feints with its sister engines, confusing the targeting servitors and Princeps of larger machines as to the purpose of their advance. With one or even two of the Warhounds of an engine hunting maniple distracting a larger target, those remaining can slip past its more powerful armaments, exposing shield generators to the Scout Titan's complement of anti-armor weapons. In this way, an accomplished Scout Titan Princeps can accrue their own tally of engine kills in their prideful machines. Though there are many events and deeds which play out between the stars of the 41st millennia, a man's fate is what he makes it, and little is known for sure. One thing, however, is certain above all else. When the Titan Legio's ire is up, and they are about their bloody business, the Titans of the Omnissiah will walk. What marks the Imperial God Engines of the Adeptus Titanicus with greatness is the otherworldly, dread-inspiring grandeur they share with the likes of corrupted traitor legions, such as the Legios Mortis or Audax, or Eldari Titans, such as the Revenant or Phantom, and even the Bio-Titans of the voracious tyrannid species, like the horrendous, terror-inducing Hierophant. I'd enjoy making videos on these various forms of Titans, which I will if this video performs well. If you did enjoy this content, please make sure you support me by leaving a like or even subscribe. That lets me know you enjoyed this type of video, and so I'll know to compose more in the future for you. Thank you so much for your support and for the conversations we have in the comment section of these videos. You guys are awesome. Until next week, take it easy and have a good one.